Rituals involve sacrifices, human sacrifices.
They were great warriors, and some believe even greater magicians.
They can enter into animals, and it's like they have the spirit of the animal in them.
It's said they could travel through time and speak to the dead, but still, they all but disappeared more than 1,000 years ago. What happened to this great empire, and what clues can we uncover about their strange and sudden demise? Meet the last members of this nearly vanished people, trek deep into the jungles of Belize, hover high above the Yucatan, and venture deep below the jungle floor as we unlock the mysteries of the Maya. Next on Weird Travels. From crystal clear waters to lush animal-filled jungles, from the Riviera Maya in Mexico all the way south to Belize is a traveler's paradise. It's a land full of adventure, year-round sunshine, and some of the richest archaeological discoveries in the world. Each year, guests check into this region's 5-star hotels, soak up the sun on its beaches, and explore its jungles. But few realize that right beneath their feet lie the relics of an ancient and highly advanced civilization shrouded in mystery. For nearly 2,000 years, this mysterious civilization ruled the Yucatan in Mexico, Belize, Guatemala, and all the way to Honduras. They were deeply in tune with the earth and the heavens. And to connect with life's mysterious and powerful forces, they often indulged in drug-induced ceremonies, ritualistic bloodletting, and even human sacrifices. They've been compared to the mighty Romans and even Egyptians, yet little remains of their once powerful empire. In fact, they disappeared so suddenly that locals and visitors alike are still trying to understand what happened to the ancient civilization of the Great Maya.
Primary reason for people to venture into these lands to look at the Maya sites is that they're just fascinated by the fact that we have not been able to explain where these people have gone. What happened to them? I mean, you're talking about 10 to 15 million people disappearing from the face of this earth.
Who were the Great Maya and where did they go? All we know is that they all but disappeared around 900 AD.
Because it's such a mystical culture. It's so filled with mysteries.
And only now are we beginning to understand the extent of their powers.
These were intelligent people. They were scientists, they were researchers.
Very smart, very industrious, extremely productive, almost a genius type civilization.
Some say the Maya even learned to harness the power of the mind. They believed they could transform themselves into animals.
Like a jaguar or a bird or perhaps a snake. And then they can travel around and they can perceive the world as this animal spirit companion does.
It's one of the most amazing civilizations in this part of the New World.
So amazing, they may have even predicted the end of the world. The Mayan calendar is of startling accuracy. It dates back to 3114 BC and comes to an abrupt end on December 21st, 2012.
The Maya were predicting things that would occur centuries down the line.
With the doomsday date closing in, the race is on to understand the Maya. Who were they? What did they know? Where did they go? Did the Maya disappear due to internal strife? Or did bloody warfare bring an end to their great civilization? Perhaps short-sighted farming techniques led to a famine that wiped them out. Or was Mother Nature to blame?
There were a number of major hurricanes. There's also some evidence for earthquake activity taking place.
Some even say the Maya's powers allowed them to magically disappear. Keys to this great mystery are scattered throughout the jungles of Central America. And the great Mayan city of Caracol in Belize provides some of the best clues to understanding this ancient culture.
Caracol, in its city, almost conservative estimates put its population at 150,000, but it could easily be 200,000. It's the largest ancient Maya site in this country.
Located in the Cayo district of Belize in the foothills of the Maya Mountains, Caracol was only discovered in 1938. Surprising when you consider that this city was around 65 square miles, the size of Washington, D.C. As stargazers and astronomers, the Maya built their cities based on certain planetary alignments.
This is the central building that is used for the observatory. The orientation of this building is such that it's directly tied to the rising of the sun.
Caracol was also one of the most populous Mayan cities, a large and imposing metropolis. It was built to instill awe in its people. To remind everyone around of their power, the Maya built great temples that rose high above the jungle and could be seen for miles.
They wanted like this to be seen from a distance. So everyone that lived in this valley, like the farmers, the middle class, they looked up here as that's the place where magic happens.
The Maya averaged 5 feet tall, so how did they build such massive structures?
You didn't have a crane to build a building like this. It was all done by human labor.
And why the huge steps for such small people?
These buildings are facing into a plaza, and ceremonial activities would take place on these buildings, and the passage would be very slow. So that's why the steps are wide, and so it is for movement that is very slow.
To instill fear and awe in their people, Mayan rulers also built secret passages in their temples that enabled them to appear and disappear at will.
There is hidden stairs in this structure here. So you have the stairs then going in, and if you're a ruler walking up here, you would disappear into the building. You're gone, you reappear back at the top. Then you conduct your ceremony, and whosoever is witnessing this is like, wow, you know, like, did he came from the heaven, or is he a god? And this is what the rulers were trying to achieve. It was power, a lot of power, magic.
They also achieved this by dressing in elaborate costumes and headdresses. From high above, they were a sight to behold. They appeared like magical creatures who could materialize atop the temples and just as quickly disappear into the jungle below. Today, the interior of these temples remains closed to visitors. Even in Mayan times, only the ruling elite were allowed inside. In fact, behind these walls were the sacrificial altars where Mayan rulers made their bloody offerings to the gods.
The bloodletting ceremonies was in some ways the ruler saying, here is my blood, here is my life, I am giving it up for my people.
It appears death was not something the Maya feared. Instead, they saw it as a natural part of life. Bloodletting rituals were also a big part of Mayan culture.
Many of the bloodletting ceremonies were done at the beginning of the planting season. In some cases, they would use stingray spines or obsidian blades to do that. And the bloodletting could be done either by piercing the tongue, piercing the breast, or piercing the penis. And in some sense, what it signified was life flowing out into the ground. And then the kern that came up provided the sustenance for life.
For the Maya, these bloody rituals were a way to perpetuate the circle of life. And as archaeologists continue to explore ancient sites like Caracol, they're learning more every day about the ways of the ancient Maya.
We haven't finished our work. We've only touched maybe 15% of the site.
What experts do know is that the Maya elite looked to the stars for their city planning, that they kept their power over the masses by taking on godlike attributes, and that they honored the earth they lived on. Of this great culture, but their presence still lingers in the humid jungle air. And strewn throughout these dense jungles are more clues about the Maya's strange and mysterious ways. Coming up, a bloody sport reveals astounding secrets about the Mayan approach to life and death.
In some cases, they would play for their lives. If you lost, you could be beheaded.
And later, did the Maya foresee their own demise?
Towards 800 AD, we find a lot more rituals taking place, but rituals that involve sacrifices, human sacrifices, a lot more human sacrifices taking place.
For nearly 2,000 years, the great Mayan Empire inspired awe from the Yucatan all the way to present-day Honduras. With their deep understanding of nature, architecture, and astrology, the Maya maintained their power over the land. A highly evolved civilization, it seems they had no fear of dying. In fact, their rituals and even their ball games reveal a lot about their very unique approach to life and death.
They would play for their lives. If you lost, you could be beheaded.
Scattered through the jungles of Central America and the Yucatan, ancient ceremonial ball courts may offer clues to the Maya's mysterious ways. It is here that the Maya played what some say is the oldest and probably the most violent organized sport in the world, Poctotoc. Today, curious travelers can head to Mexico's Riviera Maya and watch a real live ball game at the ecotourism park of Xcaret.
This is a recreation of a typical ball court. Well, these ball games were attended by many thousands of Maya people that would come from all over to witness the ball game being played.
Mesoamerican civilizations have played variations of this game for more than 3,000 years. The Maya Poctotoc was a ritual that combined sports and sacrifices. In fact, the game was so important to them that it even appears in their holy book, or Popol Vuh. Back then, much was expected from the highly skilled players.
The athletes had to be prepared mentally and physically to play this game. So they devoted 100% of their time to training and playing.
Quiere decir que era gente que estaba dedicada única exclusivamente al juego de pelota.
They were also willing to give their life. The game of Poctotoc often had a bloody outcome for the losers and the winners.
In some cases, captured rulers were allowed to play, and they would play for their lives.
Powerful rulers from different regions often lost their heads if they lost the game. Yet at other times, the spoils of victory were just as dire.
At the end of the ball game, the winning team was sacrificed. And this seems controversial because why would the winning team be sacrificed? But in the Maya way of thinking about things, what better time to be offered to the deity than when you had achieved the crowning achievement of your life?
Lo decapitaban para que la sangre.
The captain was beheaded because then the blood could go into the earth and offer fertility and guarantee a continuing of life.
Y la vida pudiera continuar.
With all its blood and gore, this ball game was actually played to perpetuate the circle of life. But according to some, Poctotoc also symbolized a dark and ominous event in our own future. John Major Jenkins, a leading authority on Mesoamerican cosmology, has spent his life unraveling the clues to the Mayan fascination with the heavens.
There's an astronomical symbolism encoded into the ball game symbolism. The game ball symbolizes the sun. Well, here is the goal ring of the ball court. It's in the middle of the ball court, and the ball court represents the Milky Way, and this goal ring represents the dark rift in the Milky Way.
Jenkins believes that when the ball goes through the ring, it symbolizes a galactic event that could mark the end of the world. The Maya even predicted this in their calendar.
This is the galactic alignment event that only happens in the years around 2012.
The Mayan calendar ends in 2012. Were they predicting the end of the world? Eerily similar prophecies regarding this year have been predicted by the Egyptians, and even prophets like Nostradamus. The ancient Maya appeared to be a people fearless of death, but why? Scholars wonder if they knew something we don't. Up next, we dive deep into the Mayan underworld.
I know for a fact that my grandparents, they will never go into a cave because they believe that the cave is where the evil spirits roam.
And later, we travel through time to unlock the mysteries of the Mayan calendar.
So if you have a disaster at this particular point in time, in a number of years, it should occur again.
The lush Yucatan Peninsula was once the home of the great Mayan Empire. Now, more than 1,000 years later, it's an adventurer's paradise. From thick, dense jungles to the largest underground cave system in the world, this Mayan playground was meant for exploring. The most daring adventurers reap the highest rewards. Visitors and archaeologists have been exploring these jungles for years, yet one concept remains difficult to grasp. How did the Mayan civilization, which thrived here for thousands of years, just disappear?
It's a fascinating question to figure out where the ancient Maya went. What happened to them? We have not answered that question.
Only a handful of books from the Maya remain. They've been studied and analyzed for more than 300 years, yet little has been revealed. And with their people's disappearance, their rich culture and their magical secrets vanish too. 10 years ago, Otto von Bertrab moved into this Mayan village to learn the true nature of this misunderstood culture.
Fiesta. ¿Sí? Tamalitos. ¿Qué onda? For a lot of the people in the area, I'm the white Maya. Always speaking about bringing back the Maya culture. And so for the Mayas, I am a Mayan.
After years of living among the Maya, Otto decided to share their culture with the world. Today, he's found a unique way to lure intrepid travelers staying in nearby Cancun to the jungles and caves where the mighty Maya once roamed.
We try to take people to the native way of life. It's wild. And basically, we mix archaeological knowledge with the activities. We start saying how the Mayans lived.
In keeping with Mayan tradition, Alternative is also respectful of this natural playground that was once their home. But this is no playground for the squeamish. The mysterious land of the Maya can be outright dangerous. Those not afraid to take risks can trek through the deep brush and cross the same lakes the Maya once did, from a slightly different vantage point.
Right, guys, this is what we do, the zip line. This is 210 meters. So what we do right here, we're gonna put the harnesses on, and we'll send you all over from here, all the way to the other side. This is your brake. All right, there you go. Brake! Brake! Come on!
Those brave enough to let it slide can also take the plunge in ancient Mayan caves. But this adventure is definitely not for the faint of heart. The jungles of the Yucatan are also littered with some of Mother Earth's most remarkable creations. Cenotes, Mayan for sacred wells. Cenotes are openings in the ground that lead to a network of underground rivers and caves. 5 of the largest water-filled cave systems in the world are located in the Yucatan area. These limestone caves, sculpted over time by torrential rainfall, were here long before the Maya. But even today, new openings are still created when the ground above gives way, revealing even more of this spectacular underground system.
All right, guys, welcome to Cenote Chiquinha. Okay, Chiquinha, it's a Mayan word. It's a big mouth where the sun hits the water. So what we're gonna do right here, guys, we're gonna start swimming. Everybody knows how to use a mask and a snorkel?
These divers may think they're alone, but there's more to these ancient caves than meets the eye. For the Maya, cenotes were the entrance to the afterlife, the burial ground for the dead.
Mayan people used to bury the bodies inside the cenotes, like this. Why? Because they believe that this is the infra-world for them. If your body's inside a cenote, your soul go out again through the roots and you stay outside. This was your ticket to another life.
For most visitors, the fun stops here. But expert divers can venture deep into the caves and swim with the spirits of the Maya.
The dive is a little bit different than, like, when you dive in the ocean, it's open water. Here it's an overhead environment.
Ready? Go.
The maximum time is going to be about 45 minutes maximum.
There's no surface above you, only rock. That means no margin for error. Just one slight mistake and you may join the Mayan spirits in their underworld. To date, it's estimated that only 1/4 of the subterranean river system has actually been seen by human eyes. But there are other cenotes, accessible by foot, that lure in visitors eager to uncover more of the Mayan mystery. Up next, a dark cenote reveals tangible traces of the ancient Maya.
You know, it was like a haunted place, and you know, they perform like human sacrifice.
And later, the magical powers of the Maya come alive before our very eyes. Beneath the emerald jungles of Belize lie the gateways to the Mayan underworld, dark places where even the Maya feared to tread.
I know for a fact that my grandparents, they will never go into a cave because they believe that the cave is where the evil spirits roam.
But in the years leading up to the end of their civilization, scientists believe the Maya would frequently visit these haunted caverns. If they feared them so much, why did they venture inside? One way to find out is to head for the mysterious and ancient cenotes of Belize and check them out firsthand. Just a few miles away from the great Mayan city of Caracol lie the hidden Rio Frio caverns. These caverns are too shallow for diving, but travelers looking for clues to the mysterious disappearance of the Maya can walk right in, if they're brave enough. Like a gaping mouth, the cenote draws in visitors. And very quickly, day turns to night. Inside, the eerie darkness is barely penetrated by the mining lamps. Underground, it's a breathtaking world of colorful crystals and creepy crawlers.
You know, we have spiders in here, like the scorpion spider I was talking to you about. You know, they get pretty big.
I think I've seen these spiders on Fear Factory.
But as travelers venture deeper into the cave, there's more to fear than pesky spiders. They're entering the Maya's sacred realm of the dead.
The cenote, it's forbidden. There's dead people there.
These people believe that the caves were so scary.
So why did the ancient Maya venture inside? Many believe that as they saw their great empire falling, they came here to make desperate sacrifices to their gods. More than 1,000 years later, in the dark reaches of the cenote, evidence of these gruesome sacrifices still exist.
You can still see the ash. You know, it's been there, you know, for over 1,000 years, and it's still there, you know.
And the relics from centuries ago each have their own story to tell.
Only the royals and the you know, like the elites were allowed to come in here. These were the places that they came into. And, you know, they performed like human sacrifice. And to them, it was an honor. It was a shorter way to get up into the astral heavens in a peaceful way. So that's the reason why this person volunteered himself.
Some scholars believe dying from natural causes was a terrifying thing for the Maya, so they opted instead for a more sacred and often more gruesome transition to the afterlife.
The Mayans in here, you know, they were taking blood out of their body and they were giving it to their gods as an offering, right? Like females, they were using the tongue. What they did was that they pierced a hole through the tongue with the stingray spine. Then they took a vine that had thorns on both sides and they passed it through from the top and they pulled it down so that the blood would run on the vine, and they collected it on a bowl at the bottom. And then for males, you know, they did it under the private part. Even bloodletting, it was an honor, so they volunteered themselves to do that.
Did these ancient vessels once hold the blood of Mayan rulers, frantic to save their people? Coming up, the last remaining Maya reveal the long-kept secrets of their ancestors. And later, if they could predict the future, were the Maya waiting for the right time to reveal their deepest secrets to us?
An era of opening, you know, where most of the knowledge is going to be shared.
Clues to the the Mayas' disappearance are scattered throughout the jungles of Belize. And today, tours across ancient Maya land offer visitors a glimpse into this mysterious culture that was both highly evolved and incredibly violent. As travelers walk in the footsteps of these ancient people, it's hard not to wonder, where did they go? And did they take their knowledge with them? Much of their power came from nature, and many believe they disappeared when they began to lose their connection to the universe and the world around them. One of their links to the earth and the heavens was the magical ceiba tree. To most, the giant ceiba is just a tree. But it's the central image in Mayan culture, the mythical tree of life and their gateway to heaven.
The ceiba is one of the tallest trees in the jungle, with very, very deep roots. And for the Mayan people, this is going to unify the whole universe.
The center of the universe means the center of the life, too.
The ceiba tree is a great image of the cosmos. It represents the connection between the earth and the trunk of the tree, which is the heart of humanity, and the branches and the flowers are the celestial realm.
Much of the Maya's power came from nature, and it's believed that the shaman, the Mayan spiritual leaders and healers, used trees like the ceiba to commune with the heavens.
The ceiba tree was a symbol of the Milky Way, and the Milky Way was the great path of souls. So when the shaman would go on a visionary journey, it was like he was taking a journey from the earth through the different dimensions of the universe into the highest cosmic source, the eternal divine source of all creation. In accessing the higher dimensions, he is transcending the world. So he's transcending the flow of time from past, present to future, and that gives the shaman a unique perspective on world events.
Some scholars believe that the ancient Maya harnessed the ability to see the future. Certain modern Maya claim that they can do the same by tapping into the higher realm. This source of higher knowledge has been dubbed by scholars the universal knowledge. To the Maya, tapping into this source meant having a sense of the universe and the world around them. But some believe the Maya not only saw beyond time and space, they could also get into the minds and souls of others. Hidden in remote villages throughout the jungles of Central America, just under 5 million descendants of the great Maya are left. They live in sharp contrast to the 15 million of their vanished ancestors. But many of them still hold the keys to some of their secrets.
Some of the mysteries of the ancient Mayas have been recovered recently. It was things that were forgotten, and suddenly in the last 20 years, Mayas have been telling their secrets to us, the common people.
Today, modern-day Maya may rise again, as their shamans attempt to reconnect with their lost powers. The shamans still play a vital role in the Mayan culture. It's a culture that's been devoid of modern medicine for thousands of years. This shaman in training, Eloy, is learning secret techniques that have been passed down for generations.
His grandfather was a shaman. He was very respected here in the area. Now he's retaking all of this knowledge.
Learning the shaman's mystical wisdom is not taken lightly. It can take decades of training to become a full-fledged healer.
He's learning about medicine, natural medicine in the jungle, the energies, the spirits, the animals, how important this is, and especially, the harmony between men, and human beings and nature. This is going to be the most important thing for the Mayan people. It's what connects us to the origin of origins.
Later, Shaman Eloy, in purified white garb, agrees to share an ancient purification ritual with his visitors. It's an ancient Mayan ceremony that's meant to cleanse the soul of all impurities.
Mayan ceremony inside this cavern. This is going to be a purification ceremony. It's going to be a prayer in the Mayan language asking for purification for us. It's going to be spoken in the Mayan language, and it's going to be the shaman Eloy back there who's going to perform the ceremony for us.
Here in this dry cenote, or opening to the Mayan underworld, a sanctified ceremony relies not only on the cooperation of the visitors, but on the spirits of the dead. The shaman calls the departed spirits forward in his native tongue, beseeching their blessing. The group adds chips of amber from the sacred ceiba tree to the incense, communing with the ancient souls. The smoke draws the spirits forward. What was only moments before a very still cavern is altered by a sudden drop in temperature and a light wind, lifting the smoke, and if all went as planned, the participants' impurities out of the cenote. Shaman Eloy isn't the only one who has unlocked some of his ancestors' ancient knowledge of nature. In a remote village in Belize, Mayan shaman Jorge Koch claims he has the power to cure illnesses, using only the plants from the nearby forest.
Well, this one here, we use this like for when you are vomiting. So you boil this, you drink the water, then right away you come back to normal again. Well, this one here, this one is for flu. When you have fever, you can drink this tea here.
From their villages deep in the jungles, Jorge and Eloy are both working to keep Mayan traditions alive. But some descendants of the great Maya have left their thatched huts for the big city, and they're bringing this ancient culture to the modern world. Travelers from around the world flock to the bustling port town of Belize City, the gateway to the mystical Mayan land. It's famous for its colorful riverfront, old charm with historic churches, lighthouses, and even pirates. The city is also home to many descendants of the Maya, who've come here to discover a more westernized way of life.
I was about maybe 12 years old at the time, living in a village called Mango Creek. Then I migrated to the city, which is where I settled.
Leaving a simple way of life can be a culture shock.
Moving away from the village life is moving away from your culture. Coming to the city, you're faced with another culture. That's why I call it a clash of culture.
But this clash of cultures has its rewards. For these descendants of the Maya, living in the city is also a great opportunity to shed light on their mysterious ways and share their arts and culture with the world.
Well, there's a lot of people are making Mayan art right now because they discovered that it attracts tourists. I'm an individual artist, so there's many more things to be promoted within the Mayan culture.
Dr. Atanasio Cobb left his large family behind and came to Belize City to study modern medicine.
Growing up in the village, normally the parents will have large families, 8, 9 kids, 10 kids.
City life required some getting used to, but not all the changes were bad.
My coming to college was coming to Belize City. A little to adapt to living in a house where the toilet facilities is in the house. Back at home, the toilet facilities was quite a walk away.
The city also enabled Dr. Cobb to turn his dream into reality.
From very small, growing in the village where I was raised with my parents, I always wanted to be a physician.
He also had an added advantage over his city peers, a knowledge of medicinal plants he inherited from one of his Mayan relatives.
My great grand-uncles is a bush doctor, what we call in our villages. And he used to go and pick up herbs and tend to people. And I wanted to be something like him or more.
Today, Dr. Cobb still holds on to the knowledge of his Mayan ancestors. But he's now also a full-fledged surgeon.
I am trained in Western medicine, but I am trained about ear, nose, and throat, head and neck surgery. I do both the clinical medicine and surgery.
And even if he's left his home behind, Dr. Cobb is very proud of his Mayan heritage.
We have a tremendous past. We know our history and our culture. It's a tremendous culture.
But he's also aware that many modern-day Maya want to adapt to the times.
I think Mayas are like any other people. We are a group of people that no longer govern the country, but we have the same basic needs and same basic desires. We want to be at the top, but in a different.
Today, modern Maya still pray for health, wisdom, and access to the afterlife. But their ancient ancestors with the same beliefs were nearly destroyed centuries ago. How could a culture who made such dramatic strides in medicine, architecture, agriculture, even the powers of the mind, practically vanish from the face of the earth? And should we all expect the same fate in the year 2012? Up next, what did the Maya know about our future?
They believe actually we're entering into a new era.
When we come back, will the Maya rise again? Over-farming, famine, war, something wiped out millions of Maya and their culture more than 1,000 years ago. Their vast civilization once controlled the Yucatan and most of Central America. Today, only relics of their past greatness remain. And as the elders die, the secrets of the Maya die too. But some say the Maya's demise was written in the stars since the beginning of time. And maybe the Maya knew it.
Maybe they did. Maybe they got to this level of understanding, and maybe that's what we're waiting for this knowledge.
As their massive cities began to fall, there's evidence that the Maya made desperate appeals to their gods for help.
We find towards 800 AD, we find a lot more rituals taking place, but rituals that involve sacrifices, human sacrifices, a lot more human sacrifices taking place.
But is it possible that the Maya, by virtue of their acute knowledge of astronomy, actually predicted their own demise? Of all the Maya's impressive achievements, none has captivated the imagination of scholars more than their remarkable grasp of astronomy.
There was a class of people that were devoted to this aspect, looking at the sky, making calculations, and figuring out exactly how the moon and the sun and Venus and the different planets all interact.
We think in terms of years, but the Maya they were predicting things that would occur centuries down the line.
The Maya believed in a cyclical time, not linear, and their fascination with the cosmos resulted in a calendar of startling accuracy.
From what we have seen, the Maya calendar is actually more accurate than the Gregorian calendar that we use today.
The Museum of Mayan Culture in Chetumal, Mexico, houses an archaeologist's rendition of the calendar. There is little written history or drawings explaining exactly how it worked, but one thing's for sure. The calendar represents a piece of the puzzle that brings us closer to understanding the Mayan way and our own fate.
With this calendar and the Mayan prophecies, we can understand what will happen, in this future for us.
A series of interlocking wheels and calendars individually represent the movement of the galaxy and different dates from Earth's creation all the way to modern time.
I mean, they're following a calendar tradition that has been followed unbroken for some 3,000 years.
But when the symbols and wheels were used together, the unbroken accuracy brought frightening prophecy.
Well, they certainly predicted their demise, but they had a vast idea of what time is. And this view, this cyclical view of time, meant that most things should occur again, or will occur again. So if you have a disaster at this particular point in time, in a number of years, it should occur again.
In the great cycles of time, the sun periodically comes into alignment with the center of our Milky Way galaxy. And this is an astronomical fact, and as the Maya knew, we are due for another galactic alignment in 2012.
The Mayan calendar ends in 2012. Is this a sign from the ancient Maya? Will our world suffer the same fate?
The end date of this calendar is December 21st of 2012, so clearly they were able to pinpoint a winter solstice some 2,000 years into the future.
And so the first archaeologists who discovered that, they thought, well, Mayas are predicting the end of time, the end of the world.
Some people believe the Earth and the planet Earth is gonna be destroyed.
Yet others say the Maya were simply pointing to an age of renewal, a kind of rollover of the cosmic odometer.
Knowledge was very deep, no, and was very complex actually. Now they believe actually we're entering into a new era of opening, where most of the knowledge is gonna be shared.
There is the chance of complete obliteration, and there's the chance of transcendence. And we always have a choice when confronted with anything in life. Well, the Maya were an amazingly advanced civilization. They had many, many insights into the nature of time, reality, and human consciousness. And because of that, they recognized that all processes on Earth go through a cyclic process. They're born, they grow, they reach a culmination, and they descend, and then they die. So they recognized too that their own civilization was bound to go through this same cyclic process.
As they predicted, the Maya may actually rise again.
There are Mayas from Yucatan to Honduras, and 40 dialects, 5 million people. I mean, they're here, and if their prophecies are true, maybe they will unite again as a culture.
Will the Maya rise again? Only time will tell. But as more people explore the sites of this once powerful and vast empire, more secrets are revealed. And as travelers stand at the steps of their great temples or walk the jungles they once inhabited, the great Maya come to life once again.
Little by little, people begin to learn about the Maya civilization, and then they realize that here were people that were very smart, very industrious, extremely productive.
The people, they're here. They're the straight descendant from the ones who built these temples. And so everyone who comes to this area and spends a day with the Mayas, he takes in his soul a seed of the Mayas, so he can be a Maya too.